Hello and welcome to the CDO Magazine interview series. I am Ricardo Crepaldi, Director of Data Enablement at BASF and Ambassador of the CDO Magazine in Germany. I'm calling today from the cloud Ludwigshafen in the Palatine area, and I will be the moderator for today's interview, which is a partnership with CDO Magazine, MIT, CDO IQ, and the International Society of Chief Data Officers. And today, I have the pleasure of talking with Dr. Michael Stonebraker, founder, CTO, and visionary of Hopara, and Kent Smith, CEO of founder of Hopara. Hi, guys. How are you today?
We're doing great.
Great. Thanks, Ricardo. How are you?
I'm great. Great. How can the companies dig out from the accumulated legacy code that has created?
Well, let me just give you a little, for example. This is a very dated vignette. But anyway, the Cisco Systems, which is a large telecommunications company, way back when, this was like 20 years ago. So at the time they were buying lots and lots of small companies, and they would simply, when they bought a company, they would suck all the data out of that company's systems and throw those systems away and take the time to just rationalize it and load it into their internal systems in a self-consistent way, which is they did data integration at merger and acquisition time. And and they said, well, if we don't do it at M&A time, then we will create silos, and that will be a long-term headache. So they simply took the time to do data integration at ingest time. And that clearly is the long-term optimal thing to do. But short-term, it's not optimal because, the short term, you just keep running the acquiree's legacy stuff, but that creates yet more legacy stuff. So I view it as your predecessors often make short-term suboptimal decisions, and you're stuck living with them. And so I view that as the sins of your predecessors. Yeah. And at the very least, please don't add sins of your own.
Okay, good. So, and then now talking about COVID, that unfortunately is a reality, but a lot of companies has learned also a lot in these last years, And then why is the DIY, the do-it-yourself engagement so important in this post-COVID world?
I think just in general, and this is I think COVID means that remote work, I think, or at least hybrid work, is going to be with us forever. And I think, Ken and I are founders of this company, Hopara. We are 2 years old. We have no office. We are entirely remote. And Ken has made no in-person sales calls during the entire existence of the company.
And I have a global network now.
And so I think, that lowers sales costs, and seems to be now accepted as a normal way to do business. And I hope it sticks post-COVID. And I hope the hybrid/remote workplace sticks post-COVID. And so I think COVID will have long-term implications on the way we organize. And so I think it's entirely possible that Hopara can get away with being an entirely remote company for the foreseeable future. Like why do you have to pay for office space if you don't have to? And we've all gotten very good at using Zoom for communication. And so, the Hopara engineering is in Brazil, where you originally came from, and the sales and marketing are in Boston, and it works just fine.
If you need a conference room, call your lawyer. They've got a nice big conference table, and they're more than happy to share it.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I think COVID will have lots of implications. I think just in general, if you're going to have a data-driven company, the people you have to empower are the users of that data, and they are largely not professional programmers. And if I'm a data user and I want to use some data, if I have to get a professional programmer to help me, that's going to slow me down immensely as well as cost money. So if we want to empower the leaf levels in an organization to be data-driven, which is exactly what we want to do, then DIY is the only way it's going to happen. And so you've got to invest in tools that are easier to use, that don't require a professional programmer to bring stuff up for you. And you've got to invest in end users to make them as smart as they can in using sophisticated tools. So I think this will be a challenge for everybody. But I think a data-driven enterprise is not likely to be completely successful without empowering leaf-level folks to do it themselves.
And let me add on there in terms of the visualizations. You've got folks working from home. They're on a PC. They're looking at a BI dashboard, charts and graphs or whatever. 2 minutes later, they look over here and they're playing a game with their kids. Their eyes are being trained in a much different way. You're talking about a population of folks, even, when Star Wars came out, if somebody watched Star Wars, they were 15 years old, that's a 60-year-old person now. So you're talking with a whole new generation of people who are used to much more dynamic media. So your data visualizations need to be much more engaging. They need to have drill down. They need to have, pan and zoom, like a Google Maps on steroids or what have you. But I think especially for the average user, your charts and graphs, again, they're playing a game with their kid 2 minutes later, and they're seeing the radical difference. So I think that visualization is going to be really critical.
Again, thank you, Michael and Ken, for joining me today. It was a pleasure to spend this time with you guys. And also thank you for that is watching this video. And if you want to see more content like this one and more videos, please just visit the cdomagazine.tech.